Hello and welcome. I'm Giovanni. Today's going to be working on Zelda sketch. We continue here. It'll be a chill. Nothing much planned today, so feel free to like and follow on Instagram, Tumblr, Twitch, YouTube, Patreon for more. Links are in the bio. Get into it. Also, I'll be listening to a true crime. Get into it.
I got dinner at one of the beaches in the area and I went to get gas.
The digital evidence doesn't support what you're saying. None of that matches to what you just said. I don't buy that story whatsoever. I'm going to talk to our district attorney about the craziness of this conversation and push for you to be arrested for homicide.
It's defying common sense.
The only time that you've turned your phone off for a long period of time is during a homicide where you drove the suspect.
Robert and Wendy Spoor had just come back from the lake. They'd spent the afternoon on the water with their grandchildren, sun on their faces, laughing, alive. They had no idea someone was already inside their home, waiting. June 5th, 2021, Lake Tahoe, California. A masked figure in a black hoodie had broken into the couple's home hours earlier. Security footage captured the sound of 6 gunshots at 8:51 p.m. 5 minutes later, the figure left. Robert, a 70-year-old grandfather, was shot once and died where he fell. His 68-year-old wife, Wendy, was shot twice in the head and left for dead. She survived, but the trauma was inescapable. She took her own life 2 years later. The family believed the shooter took hers too, just more slowly. If you're new to the channel, subscribe and stay with us, because this case goes far deeper than a home invasion. For 2 years, the case went completely cold. The couple's youngest daughter, Adrian, offered a $150,000 reward and pleaded for answers, but there were no arrests. Then, investigators finally found a suspect, and it was closer to home than anyone had imagined. Daniel Serafini was a former Major League Baseball pitcher. He was also Robert and Wendy's son-in-law, married to their daughter Erin. Behind closed doors, Serafini had burned through his $14 million baseball fortune. He despised his in-laws, openly calling them wealthy pieces of shit. He even made comments about hiring a hitman for $20,000. When he couldn't hire one, he decided to do it himself. But he didn't act alone. This is where Samantha Scott enters the story. Samantha was the family nanny. She boarded her horse at the family stables and Erin's closest friend. But secretly, she was Dan Serafini's lover. On the day of the murder, Samantha drove Serafini from Nevada to Lake Tahoe. She watched him test fire a silenced weapon. She waited in her car for hours while he walked to the house and committed the murders. She was his getaway driver. When detectives finally brought Samantha into an interrogation room, they knew exactly who was sitting across from them, and she knew exactly what she was hiding. For over an hour, she sits in that room trying to hold together a story that is already collapsing, desperately trying to protect Serafini and herself. Watch closely how she navigates the pressure, the constant changes to her story, and the cracks in her demeanor as she realizes the walls are closing in.
All the
I put
doors
the
are unlocked
$14
to get
million.
out. There's no
Be allowed that.
locked doors.
We're not in a cell.
And this is recording me?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
We are being recorded. Okay.
And I think we talked about that earlier, and it just,
That's fine. I just want to...
yeah, it just helps us, and then, that way there's no confusion on what I said or you said. And with that said, we're really interested with what you have to say.
Okay. I'm happy to answer your questions.
Okay. So I would say we'll start with kind of some of the biggest questions that we have. I mean, there's a lot of, like I said earlier, there's a lot of details that we would like to know, things that only the people in that inner circle will know. We're on the outside looking in. But the really crucial things are when you took a trip to Elko, to Crescent Valley, and your phone left and went to Homewood and back, and you said that you were not with your phone. Can you explain
I was with my phone. I went from the Red Lion Hotel
Okay.
to Crescent Valley, and then up there, and then I came back.
Okay. So you were at, so you got there, you drove by yourself?
From the Red Lion, I drove by myself to...
How about to the Red Lion when you first went up there?
Yes, I was by
Okay.
myself.
And that was in your Subaru?
Correct.
Okay. And you went to the Red Lion, and what happened next? You were going there
So
for
is
what
that,
reason?
just for clarification, is that June 4th? My memory.
I don't know.
So
I'm
it's a Friday, Saturday, right?
I believe so. I mean...
Okay, so you drove up on what day? Friday?
Friday, correct.
Friday, okay. And then I actually missed what you guys were just talking about. On Saturday, you went to Crescent Valley and back? Is that what you mean?
On Saturday, I left the Red Lion. I went to Crescent Valley.
Okay.
Okay.
And what did you do there?
In Crescent Valley, I was just there momentarily, and then I left and went to Tahoe.
You went to Tahoe. Did you see Danny there?
Yes.
At the trailer?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then you drove to Tahoe?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And what did you do in Tahoe?
I went to the little stores there. There's that public beach I went to for a bit, and then I got dinner, and then I went back to the beach that's up there.
Did you ever go back to Elko?
Mm-hmm. Afterwards.
Afterwards?
Yeah, in the evening.
Okay. And you were by yourself?
No, I went with Dan.
Danny went with you to Tahoe?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you guys drove together.
Correct.
Did you drive or did he drive?
I drove.
Okay. Was he ever out of your sight?
Yes.
And how long was that?
I'm fuzzy on the time frame for how long ago it was. But when I went to the little stores, we split up, and that's when I went to the little stores, to the beach, back to the stores to get dinner, back to the beach, and then back to the little stores.
Okay, and so and we can go with an estimate time. What time do you think you separated from Danny on the Saturday?
I'm not sure.
Was it late afternoon? Was it morning?
I would say it would be later afternoon.
Okay.
I mean, you take a look and see my cell phone. Yes.
Okay, and then about what time did you pick Danny up?
I want to say maybe 9:30.
9 or 9:30. And how did you know where to pick him up, or how did you guys?
Just at the little shops I dropped him off at.
Did he say what time he was going to be back, or?
No. I didn't know. I just went to get dinner, and then I went and, like I said, to the beach, and then when it got dark,
okay,
and it got cold because it's Tahoe, I went back to the shops.
Okay, and then you guys drove back to, after you picked him up like 9-ish, you guys drove back to Elko?
I drove back to Elko. I dropped him off at his trailer because he said he had to work.
In Crescent Valley?
Correct.
Okay.
Or check in at work, or I'm not sure.
And we briefly touched on this when we were at your place this morning, and it does have some bearing on what's going on, but are you and Danny together, or is it a sexual thing, or just friends?
So we're friends. I mean, their family. I'm very close with Erin, and I'm very close with Dan. We didn't. Well, there's a recent flirtation going on, which I'm sure you will see in my phone.
With Dan?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, not Erin?
No, not with Erin. We always joke around that we're like a throuple because he always complains that he has two wives because we're like,
got it.
Make us a drink and dinner and.
Yes. Okay. So with all that said, I mean, and you know why we're here, and you've seen the video.
I honestly truly believe it's still. I don't believe they do this, and I understand you told me that you believe, or maybe I'm being manipulated into it. I don't know. I just don't see this of them.
Okay.
And what I was told was he was going to pick up a package, which is something normal I hear from him. So I didn't really
Have you ever
too much of it.
taken a road trip with him before?
Yeah, but. I've traveled to horse shows and that type of
Horse
stuff.
shows?
Yeah, that's about it. That's actually
okay.
it.
So what was the reason for the travel to Elko in Crescent Valley in the first place?
So originally he had asked me to go because he wanted to surprise Erin with a new truck.
Okay.
Because she had always had a Dodge, and he wanted to try and get her a Ford. And since I travel to all the horse shows and sit in the car with her a lot, he was like, "Can you come help me pick something out you know she'd like?" And I was like, "Yeah, cool. I want to buy a truck one day. I'd like to go test drive everything I can't afford."
Okay.
And then I ended up breaking up with someone, and he was like, "Well, my friends on the paramedic team, they're having a party because someone's quitting or leaving."
Mm-hmm.
So he's like, "You can come up and party with us, and then we'll go do the trucks the next day."
Did you guys do that?
No, I
No.
was hungover, and then just didn't do that.
Do you remember what Danny was wearing?
Mm-mm.
Do you remember what you were wearing?
No. These leggings. I wear them every day,
Okay.
basically. I have 10 of them.
Do you remember what license plate was on your car?
No. My old one, I don't remember what it is though.
When did you change it, do you think?
When I bought it from my dad.
Okay.
I've been buying it for the past couple of years from him. And so when we officially finished my payments to
Okay.
him.
So when you paid it off, you got the new plates on there?
Mm-hmm. And it's my horse's name, so.
Okay.
Was that after this trip to Elko and Crescent Valley and Tahoe, or before that you paid it off and changed the license plate?
I think it was in process during that time already, because I like pre-ordered it.
Okay.
And then didn't realize it took like a month to get an appointment at the DMV.
Okay.
Do you remember in Tahoe, I'm going to write them down so I don't forget, what shops you went to or where you parked?
I don't remember the little boutiques. I know one was like a bath bomb store. And it was a few in that shopping area.
Do you remember where you dropped him off? Like if we looked on Google Earth or maps, could you point out where you dropped him off?
Just on that side there by all the little shops. Kind of at the beginning. There's, I think,
So did you guys come down 267 or 89?
I don't know. Can you?
Did you go through the mouse hole? Through Truckee? Through the mouse hole and then?
I don't know. But yes, through Truckee, I guess.
Okay.
Do you know where they do all the river rafting and you travel along the river and then it goes kind of right to Westlake,
yes.
Sunnyside, and then left towards like Tahoe City where there's shops and things like that? Or straight rather?
I think on the river and then just to the shops. I don't know the area.
Do you know like there's are there restaurants and things like that in the area where the shops were that you went to?
Small ones, yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So you dropped him off where? Near
on the side.
On the side by the Y? Did he say why he wanted to get out of the car?
No, he just said he had to pick something up.
And what did you think he meant by that?
I don't know. I don't know.
Okay. So you dropped him off at about what time?
I'm not sure. In the afternoon. It was still sunny.
Still sunny, okay.
I don't know the exact times.
And then
when I got there.
Ooh, thank you.
So you go to dinner, you go to boutiques, you go to the beach, and then how do you know exactly when to pick him up?
I didn't.
So did you just wait for him, or was he waiting for you?
I waited.
Where did you wait?
The same area.
Were you in like the parking lot of a business or parked on the side of the road?
The side of the road.
And then did he just show up, or how did that?
Mm-hmm.
Did he have his phone with him?
Not that I am aware of. I don't know.
Have you ever seen him travel without his phone?
Not that I'm aware of. He's not really on it that much, so it's not what I don't pay attention.
No problem. Did he, well, to back up real quick, what was the decision to go to Tahoe?
He asked if I would just drive because he had to pick something up and he was feeling hungover, and I was there, and I was like, yeah.
Okay.
I always like to drive and might be with my friend. And
Did he have anything with him?
No.
Nothing like that?
Mm-mm.
Was there anybody else with you guys?
No.
Did you guys end up going and partying with any of his friends or hanging out with anybody else?
When I arrived Friday, I went to the Red Lion and he was already with his friends.
How's that 1K likes?
And he came back to get me, but they all decided to go home, so no.
Okay.
And I heard him on the phone with them. And
Zelda.
And then when you drove to Tahoe, it was just the two of you. There was nobody else in the car.
Correct.
And you had your phone when you drove to Tahoe?
Correct.
Okay. Did you not have your phone at any time, or was it always with you?
I always had it.
Okay.
Has anybody ever used your phone?
I mean, people borrow it like a friend to make a phone call, but
no one knows your passcode or.
I don't.
1K
know.
likes.
I don't believe so. But I mean, it's my passcode for everything, so maybe. But I don't believe he took my phone.
So the phone shows going towards Homewood. Did you go towards Homewood?
I don't know the area, or I don't know where home.
Do you want me to get a computer that would show a map?
Yes, please.
Hang on.
And you don't remember anything about what Danny was wearing that day? If he was wearing shorts and a tank top, or if he was more bundled up? You said that it was kind of cold.
How was that?
In the evening, yeah, it got a little bit chillier.
Okay.
But I believe it was pretty warm because
so
I was hanging out on the beach for a while.
Okay. Did you have your dog with
Hope
you
we
or
get
anything
this
like that?
today.
No. Okay.
He
Awesome.
doesn't travel.
He doesn't travel well.
Want to solve network issues before they cause downtime? No problem. How about generating a script in minutes that used to take hours? You got it. With our ever-growing ecosystem of solutions.
No. Okay. Have you talked to anybody about that trip?
No, not really. I called my sister on my drive home, and I was like, I had fun, like good partying and hanging out. But that's about all I can really remember.
Okay. And you guys drank in the hotel, or you went to a bar?
We went to a few bars in Elko.
Okay. And when you went to the hotel, that was in your vehicle, and Danny's truck was at his stayed in Crescent Valley?
No, he drove from the hotel to the bars.
Okay. So both your vehicles were in the hotel, because that's where you met him first? Okay. Have you ever been to Aaron's parents' house?
One time.
Okay. So referring to Homewood being the area where their home is, did you go to the area where their home was during that trip?
No, I was in Tahoe City area.
Okay.
Okay, so let's start out with, obviously Tahoe. So here's Interstate 80. So you guys came down 80, and then so I'm asking if you came down 267, and you can use the computer if you like, but into Kings Beach, or if you came down 89 directly into Tahoe City.
Directly into Tahoe City.
Okay, and then what I might do is just take some cell phone pictures of where we're pointing at, but sorry, my phone's right there. So here's the new roundabout. Here's when you come in. Does that look all familiar?
Yeah.
Okay. So about where did you drop him off? We can zoom in really close to this. So I think this is Fanny Bridge right here. So you typed in fat cat.
Yeah, because
Okay.
I walked past it
You
while
remember
I was
that?
going to the boutiques. I want to say maybe up here some. I'm not exactly sure, but the general vicinity, because I.
So you dropped him off and picked him up in the about the same location?
Yeah, it was above where the shops are.
Okay.
I don't
And
have.
did your car stay there and you were kind of on foot and you guys met back at the car, or did you drive somewhere to meet him?
I left, and I got some fuel, and I drove like to the beach and stuff. So
Okay.
my car, I moved a bit,
Okay.
and then I want to say it was kind of after. I don't remember.
Where is he?
I
So you think
It
by
was after the kind of the boutique
Okay.
areas. I was walking around up there.
Down by the wharf where you can kind of walk down and they
Interesting.
have all the boats and all the different restaurants down there.
Oh,
Up
welcome.
higher.
So I was up here
Progress of
walking,
Zelda
but
fan.
I think I picked him up more up
Like you
here.
see, feel free to like and
There wasn't
subscribe.
too much diet or dropped off and picked up.
Is there a reason you didn't text message him or anything when you were waiting for him?
No, he just said to wait. He had to pick up his package, and I said okay.
And did he tell you where you would be picking him up so that you knew,
He
or
just
did
said
you
the same.
imagine where that would be just
He just
the
said
same
around
spot?
the same area.
And that's the same area you dropped him off.
Mm-hmm.
When you guys left Elko, did you guys ever call each other while you guys were both in the car?
While we were both in the car, no sir.
No?
I didn't call him from the car. On my way to Crescent Valley, I did talk to him on the phone. Or to Crescent Valley from the Red Lion.
Okay. And you had license plates on your car?
Correct.
But you don't remember which ones?
I think 95% they're the old ones. Because the new ones are relatively new.
Okay. And he didn't have anything with him?
Mm-mm.
Did he have a package when he got back in the car? If he went to pick up a package, did he have that with him when you picked him up?
Not a package, I guess.
What did he have with him?
So my theory is it was pocket-sized.
Have you talked to Danny today?
No.
How about Aaron?
No.
Can I ask who you've talked to today?
Yes. I've used my dad's phone, only he.
Sorry, give me a moment. Checking something.
And now, at the bottom of the building, on the ground, are the three Kumar sisters. The neighbors are all gathered around. Anyone who is still awake inside the apartment building, they're all now waking up their family members. They're all heading downstairs, including the Kumar parents. Initially, the story seems like, and this is according to the younger neighbor who had been staring, he says he stopped on his walk because it was very odd. He saw these moving figures out on a balcony late at night, and the way they were just moving about just seemed odd to him. It's in the dark, no light, it just didn't feel right. Quote,
और मेरी नज़र इसीलिए गई क्योंकि 2 बजे अगर लाइट किसी का ऑन हो तो थोड़ा सा और मुझे वो लगता है और बालकनी के ऊपर अगर कोई चढ़ के बैठा हुआ हो तो ऑटोमेटिक डाउट तो फील वैसे ही हो जाता है.
He states that he believes initially that one sister was falling from the balcony and the other two tried to save her and fell too. Whether it was intentional or not, he cannot be sure.
प्लानिंग एक की थी. मुझे तो यही दिखाई दे रहा था कि प्लानिंग एक की है और बाकी जो है उसे बचाने में गिरा है.
So that instantly brings up a few theories. One of the three sisters fell accidentally and the other two fell accidentally in an attempt to save her, all accidental. This is completely ruled out by the fact that they left behind a detailed 8-page note beforehand.
Wow. What kind of balcony? Is this a balcony that you have to climb up to get?
You would have to get a stool and then climb on top of the stool and then go over the railing and then...
How is that accidental?
Yeah.
Even the first...
Perhaps you could argue maybe she was like sitting, she propped herself up on the balcony, which I don't see that to be feasible. But judging by the note, the whole accidental theory doesn't make sense. So the second theory comes about. One sister intentionally falls and the other two accidentally fall in an attempt to save her. But again, that's hard to believe because all three of them partook in this 8-page note. So then the third theory is, okay, one sister intentionally falls, the other two try to save her because maybe they thought the note was a joke, but when they realize it's too late, they're like, I can't live with this, so they also fall. But again, that doesn't make sense, which leaves 4, the theory that all 3 sisters all went one by one and fell intentionally. But why? I mean, you get how, kind of, but why? The neighbor just saw, he doesn't know, he just responds, I don't know, I just saw all 3 of them jumping from the front. Before I could even understand what was happening or calling out, the whole incident was over. When the first one fell, they described the sound like an explosion. And then it happens 2 more times. When the sisters are rushed to the hospital, they are pronounced deceased upon arrival. They had fallen 80 feet from the air, so from the 9th floor balcony. And now you have a 16-year-old girl that is now deceased, a 14-year-old girl that is now deceased, and a 12-year-old girl. And this is where, like the novel and the movie, Virgin Self-Exit, which we just talked about in the intro, nobody knows why. The story of why changes depending on who you ask. If you ask her parents, they're going to say one thing. Authorities are going to say another thing. The press are saying something else. And then the netizens are saying something entirely different. And it's not a simple, clean-cut case either. The sisters' family background is very confusing. The 3 Kumar sisters, they're all sisters. They all live together with mom and dad, but they have different moms. So 2 sisters share the same mom, 1 sister has a mom, and they live with both the moms and the dad in the house. The oldest of the 3 sisters is from Mr. Kumar's first marriage. The 2 other sisters are from Mr. Kumar's second marriage. But the sisters are also half siblings, you know, because they're only half related, but they're also cousins because Mr. Kumar's first wife and second wife are biological sisters.
What?
He married 2 biological sisters, had kids with them, and they all live together. And he also now has a 3rd wife that also lives in this house that he has kids with, a woman named Tina. And all of them live in this 9th floor apartment.
Oh, there are more kids in the house?
Another daughter and a son, and they're very young.
Whoa. Okay.
And all of them live in the same apartment building, the same one that the 3 girls just fell out of. And in the sisters' rooms, there's something scribbled on the walls. It reads, I am very, very alone. My life is very, very alone. Make me a heart of broken. And next to an 8-page note that they wrote before they fell is a diary that has the words, read now, written on it. When news of the Kumar sisters' death starts circulating, everyone has the very obvious question of, okay, why? One teenager self-exiting is already devastating and requires a pretty introspective look into the child's circumstances. But 3 sisters at the same time, I mean, there has to be something big, or at least something that everyone is hoping for there to be a reason, because they want it to be bigger than mental health. Because mental health is something that it seems like most parents in most countries don't want to address explicitly. So the natural conclusion comes to this. Phone addiction. The 3 girls are so addicted to their phones, they would rather die than be apart from their phones. One People magazine title is, quote, 3 teen sisters jump to their deaths from 9th floor apartment after parents remove access to phones.
How did that come about?
So the dad said he did take away their phones recently, and they really liked their phones, and they were always on their phones. And so he thinks that's why that these 3 sisters did the drastic thing that they did.
उस दिन शाम को ही मैंने उनसे फोन छीना था तो मैंने कहा फोन नहीं चलाओगे आगे सूझ रही है तब भी वो रात में फोन ले गए 12 बजे 1 बजे करीब मैं दोबारा फोन ले मतलब मैंने वाइफ को बोला फोन लेके आ गई फोन लेके इनसे वो फोन लेके आ गई अचानक की मेरी वाइफ ने आवाज मारी मैं दूसरे रूम में लेटा हुआ था कि ये गेट बंद कर लिया गेट लगा लिया अंदर से गेट लगा लिया अंदर से गेट लगा लिया उन्होंने गेट अंदर से लॉक कर लिया था जब कुछ मूवमेंट नहीं नजर आई एकदम ही कुछ गिरने की आवाज आई मुझे मैंने दूसरी गिरली से नीचे झांका मेरी एक बेटी नीचे पड़ी थी.
So this came from the dad. The dad say that's why they jumped.
And the media is like, that makes sense. And they just start reporting it. One expert states, adolescents today live dual lives, one physical and one digital. If the digital one collapses, some feel like they have no life left at all. This feels like a situation of, okay, let's just keep adding on top of it until no one can see what we're going to bury to begin with. Because after that's reported, that the Kumar sisters probably did this because their phones were taken away from them, a lot of people, myself included, start questioning that narrative. Like, it's already so unheard of to begin with, but if it is true that all 3 sisters did this because their phones were taken away, that indicates that something is not okay with the kids. Typically, children that develop such strong, deep addictions to their devices, their addiction to the phone is just a presentation of the symptoms. It's not the problem. The problem is usually family life, home life, cyberbullying, bullying, abuse, lack of community, mental health illnesses that are being ignored. It's not just like, I love my phone, I'm addicted to my phone. It's statistically uncommon for children to die from phone addiction. They could have phone addiction and then get roped in by a predator. They could have phone addiction and then become victim to cyberbullying or blackmail. But just to have your phone taken away and that be the reason that you self-exit, it's not statistically common at all.
But you said they left a note, right?
Yes.
So did they
That
write
whole
something?
note
Yeah.
has not been released to the public. Excerpts of that note have been released, and it's weird. It's really weird. Yeah. So none of this makes sense for even one child to die because they got their phone taken away. But now you're saying it's all three sisters. Is there some sort of, I know a lot of people were thinking it was when all three sisters could go into a state of psychosis together, but that doesn't seem to be the case either. So there must be something darker on that phone. Then comes new information. See, this is why I'm like, it feels like this case, people just keep stacking information on top when questions start arising.
Right. Okay. So back to the phone thing. The dad told the news that he took away all three girls' phone.
Well, only two of the girls had phones. And then one of them had their phone taken away 3 months ago. So all three of them were sharing one phone. And then that phone was taken away recently.
Oh, so they're all sharing one phone, and now all three of them have no phone.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's a bizarre conclusion for a father to come to.
So then they come up with new information. They were playing a task-based game that told them to do it.
गेम के बने था लेकिन मुझे नहीं पता था कि ये इसमें ऐसा टास्क भी है कि खुदवाने का टास्क है मुझे पता होती जी कौन बाप अपने बच्चे को मरने देगा सब बताओ.
There was this big scare back during the COVID days of the Blue Whale game. Do you remember that? Yeah. Okay, it's an alleged 50-day, 50-task challenge where over the course of 50 days, kids would download the Blue Whale challenge or talk to people on Discord about it, and they would have to complete 50 tasks, one for each day, and they all start rather innocent. It's like, watch a scary movie, wake up in the middle of the night. And then the game finally instructs you at the end of the 50-day mark to commit the very last task, which largely turned out to be not true, this whole Blue Whale challenge. There was a small connection between a few deaths in Europe, specifically Russia, and the imagery of blue whales. And it could have been due to a very famous song in Russia that is centered around blue whales, or it could have been due to the fact that blue whales sometimes beach themselves, causing their own deaths. So they'll beach themselves on the shore, and then they'll die. A lot of people think that it's the most reminiscent of the human self-exit, because a lot of animals have very strong, they don't want to die. So a lot of that imagery has been associated perhaps with the connection of really dark thoughts. Scientists don't really have an answer for why blue whales beach themselves. There's not really a solid one. It could be stressors from habitat change, weather sickness. It could be illnesses lurking underneath. It could be really unfortunate situations where one beached whale gets stuck and starts sending out insane distress signals, which leads to a lot of whales coming to help, and then ends up sometimes dozens of them are getting beached.
Really?
Others say that they're getting disoriented by really strong naval sonar signals being sent to them, and they panic and they rapidly surface, and then it causes decompression sickness, which ends with them getting beached. Others have argued that it really depends on the geographical location, and then you can kind of fit one of the better theories around this very strange phenomenon. For a lot of people, it just sounds very human to beach yourself. That is the connection between the blue whale imagery and a few Russian teenagers who ultimately self-exited. Instead of accepting and turning the conversation of why these kids did what they did and talking about mental health, here comes this story of these children were being preyed upon probably by an online game like the Blue Whale Challenge. And that seems to be where this entire theory of this game existing spawns out of. It then leads to forums and a ton of Discord servers and Telegram group chats now trying to recreate the game.
You're talking about Blue Whale.
Yeah, a lot of people are like, oh my gosh, this Blue Whale Challenge exists. So then all of these people who want to be edgy teenagers on Discord, they start trying to recreate it and actually trying to start and make a Blue Whale Challenge. There was even a Russian musician who confessed to creating the game, creating the challenge, but everybody says, yeah, he's just saying whatever because his entire marketing scheme for the past however long his career has been around, is to create shock content and then push people to listen to his music. Outlets like the BBC question if the Blue Whale game, as we know it, ever even really existed at all, but it was one of the biggest scares in 2019.
That's interesting.
Yeah,
Wow.
so alas, a new story emerges with this case. They were involved in one of these task-based games. That is what Mr. Kumar is saying about his 3 daughters, the Kumar sisters.
गेमिंग के चक्कर में कराई है गेमिंग टास्क पूरा करा जी कौन सा गेम खेला हमें तो ये भी नहीं पता था वो आया ना वो जो फोरेंसिक टीम ने बताया जी हमें सारी वेरिफिकेशन करके तो ये गेमिंग का सारा
So again, this comes from the father.
Yes.
The father is saying they're playing.
Yes. He's just telling the authorities like they were playing these task-based games and the task probably told them to do this.
What?
Not a single one of the 3 girls thought, okay, maybe this is too far. Like, maybe this isn't a game that we should play. Also, what game were they allegedly playing if the Blue Whale game isn't even a real game? Furthermore, if these kids are doing task-based challenges that only escalate until it becomes this sinister, would it not be safe to assume that there would have been other signs?
Yeah, they've been doing a lot of
bizarre
challenges,
tasks.
Right?
Did the parents not notice anything strange? They wouldn't even call each other by their given names. That's what the parents say. They would pick names from TV shows or movies that they watched, and they would start calling each other those names, like Maria, Eliza, and Cindy. Those were their new names. Their parents report it's like they were living in a parallel world where their parents, friends, everyone just was shut out so they didn't have to come back to reality. The girls would spend 20 hours a day on their phone, which, why didn't the parents stop them? We don't know. Their dad says, I didn't know about the game.
हमें तो आज पता लगा कि वो टास्क चल रहा था कि वो उसमें एक ग्रुप बनी हुई थी कि जी मैं एक सीनियर हूँ वो उसके ऑर्डर मान रहे थे मैं सोच रहा गेम खेल रहे हैं जी कोई
I just knew they were on the phone. I didn't know about the game. I didn't know that the game instructs them to end it.
Did you say 20 hours a day?
Yeah.
They sleep 4 hours and then just stay on the phone for 20 hours?
That's what he says, but I don't know.
What is he talking about?
Now, he says, tell me what kind of father would let their daughters die? Tell me what kind of father would let their kid play a game that's going to cause their death? They did it because of the game. They were performing the tasks given out by the game.
गेम के बने था लेकिन मुझे नहीं पता था कि ये इसमें ऐसा टास्क भी है कि खुदवाने का टास्क है मुझे पता होती जी कौन बाप अपने बच्चे को मरने देगा सब बताओ
But it's the way in the interviews with Mr. Kumar, the way he's doing these interviews, there's no emotion, there's no inflection in his voice. He almost sounds bothered by having to explain what happened to the press.
पता होती जी कौन बाप अपने बच्चे को मरने देगा सब बताओ आप खुद बताओ कौन बाप बनने बताओ अपने बच्चों को गेम खेलने के
But not in this emotional, I'm so distraught, and you hungry bottom-feeding reporters won't leave me alone until I make a statement, so here's your goddamn statement. It's not like that. There's almost like a weird air of just kind of nonchalant energy that seems very ill-fitting for a man in his position. He didn't even just lose 1 daughter, he lost 3 daughters, he lost 3 kids. He seems way too calm. At least that's what netizens believe. Left behind in the girls' room is the 8-page note that reads, true life story with a sad face emoji. And it's a mixture of Hindi and English, and the full copy has yet to be released. And next to that is their diary with instructions for their father to read it. Which again, the full copy is yet to be released. And their diary is seemingly at odds with everything that we've learned so far. Mainstream media is telling us it's a phone addiction, maybe social media addiction. It's the Blue Whale game. But when you see excerpts from the diary, one portion reads, you don't know how much we loved Korea. Now see the proof. Now it's confirmed here that Korea and K-pop groups are our lives. Another portion reads, death is better for us than your beatings. This is why we are self-exiting. Sorry, Papa.
This is the diary. This is not from their notes.
The sorry, Papa is from their note, and then the diary is this is why we love Korea.
This is why we love...
Or this is how much we love Korea.
This is how much we love Korea?
So the whole Korean thing starts to slowly take over every news article about the Kumar sisters. It started with 3 sisters with a phone addiction. Then it went to 3 sisters playing a task-based game online. Then now it's becoming 3 sisters obsessed with Korean culture die. They did not just die from a phone addiction or from a game, which, those were nonsensical explanations to begin with. When the dad would even explain the game, he doesn't know what game he's talking about. He doesn't know what tasks they would do. Some reports even firmly state that the police have ruled out a task-based game.
अभी तक के जांच में ऑनलाइन गेमिंग और गेमिंग में दिए जाने वाले टास्क के बारे में कोई भी तथ्य सामने नहीं आया है.
So all of that isn't making any sense. And now the father has a new version of events of why the girls did what they did. And it all starts and ends with South Korea. He said he wants everything Korea banned in India. He says Korean content should be banned in India. No Korean dramas, no Korean videos, no Korean channels.
Thank you.
My demand from the government is ban all Korean dramas, videos, channels in India. Nothing Korea should be running in India.
कोरिया बंद होना चाहिए इंडिया में बस कोरियन ना कोरियन नाटक चले ना कोरियन वीडियो चले ना कोरियन चैनल चले बस
The girl's diary reads, "You don't know how much we loved Korea. The way we loved Korean actors and K-pop groups, we didn't even love family members that much." They proceed to list 19 things about Korean, Japanese, Chinese, British, Thai, American culture that their parents did not let them partake in. And it's primarily a list of shows and movies that their parents disapproved of, including cartoons like Shin-chan and Doraemon. They even wrote about how remember how they have a younger sister? It's a 4-year-old little girl. And they were upset that the parents influenced her first because they were really excited to make the 4-year-old sister, quote, their own. But instead, their parents kept showing the 4-year-old girl Bollywood movies rather than Korean movies, which they write in their journal about their 4-year-old sister, quote, "You made her Bollywood, which we hated more than life itself."
So this is from their diary.
Yeah.
And 3 girls share one diary?
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
A few weeks back, a family friend was rear-ended. She kept hesitating about calling a lawyer because she didn't want to seem like she was making a big deal out of nothing. But here's the thing. If you've been injured in an accident, you should not let assumptions prevent you from going after fair compensation. Your recovery, your family stability, your ability to pay bills and move forward with your life matters so much more than maybe I'm being dramatic. Morgan & Morgan is the largest law firm in America, and they've successfully recovered over $30 billion for their clients. And when it really counts, they don't back down. Their team includes over 1,000 attorneys working across the country, giving them strength and resources to help you get your life back on track. Hiring the wrong firm can be disastrous, but hiring the right firm could substantially increase your settlement. If you've been hurt due to the negligence of someone else, you can check out Morgan & Morgan. Their fee is free unless they win. Just click the link in the description below or visit forthepeople.com/rotten. That's forthepeople.com/rotten or dial pound law 529 from your phone. This is a paid advertisement. Kumar, the father, has stated in an interview, they listened to Korean music, they watched Korean films and dramas, web series, and cartoons. They also wanted to go to Korea. All 3 wanted us to accept Korean culture, but when we refused their behavior, they went into a shell and lived in their own world. Their dad says they would only dress Korean, they would do their hair in Korean styles, they used symbols that were in the Squid Games, their wallpapers on their phones were pictures of them wearing Korean-style clothes. According to one report, their dad tried to hire them a tutor, but all of that kind of goes down the drain when the 3 sisters introduce themselves with their new names, Maria, Lisa, and Cindy, which, okay, it's fine, whatever. The tutor assigns the girls homework. They fail to bring back the homework. The tutor says, "I sought to know the reason why, and they gave me a really weird answer, that they had been adopted from Korea and China." But she's like, what does that have to do with your homework? So she brings it up with the dad, and he's like, oh yeah, they're just so obsessed with Korea.
I feel like there's something missing because everything just sounds so
not real,
unrelated. Like what does that mean? Like, sure, like you can be obsessed with Korean culture and K-pop and all that, but like...
And that's why I think the book and movie Virgin Self-Exit, it reminds me so much of this case is because it seems like everyone who is explaining the girl's actions don't know a thing about what it means to even be a young girl. Like, oh, it's a phone addiction. Oh, it's a task-based game that we have no proof of, but like it must be a game or something because isn't that what the kids are doing? They're like playing games. Oh, they loved K-dramas, so... telling you they wanted to be Korean and it's weird. Like it's very like I don't think you understand what these girls are even thinking about.
And these different theories all came from the father?
It seems like they start with the father. Yeah, there's gonna be more on the father. But he just says they have a fixation on everything Korean. And because they were not Korean, because they couldn't go to Korea, they died. Okay, we don't have to go down the Ollie London rabbit hole again. He is notoriously a white man who did a ton of plastic surgery and came out to say that he will now be identifying as a Korean man. I believe he's no longer Korean though. I think he's Christian now, so... here we are. I don't know. I mean, it's not
What?
unheard of for people to claim that they are no longer the ethnicity that they are. It's weird, but it's been done before. And with the recent rise of people being fascinated by Korean culture and more dangerously, people fetishizing Korean partners, it's not the most unheard of thing. However, it does not make sense that three sisters would die because of it. It just doesn't make any sense at all. Like, sure, you can have that as an indirect reason, such as they wanted to be Korean and underwent surgery but died on the operating table. They wanted to be Korean and tried this underground black market pill that someone sold them that would make them Korean. They wanted to be Korean, so they got kidnapped by someone who promised to take them to Korea. But not just they wanted to be Korean. Period. That's it. That's how they died. Like, there has to be more to it. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
It's reported to the police that the night of their deaths, the sisters had taken their mom's phone to try and use it to get back onto the Korean games they were allegedly obsessed with. We don't even know what game really. So now it's not only a task-based game, it's a task-based Korean game. Okay, so the dad is like, yeah, they were trying to get back on that Korean game.
What does task-based game even mean?
I guess it's you do tasks in real life.
Okay.
Like the Blue Whale Challenge is like you get tasked in real life. It's not like, hey, go on this game and you get to make your own little character on the game.
So that's not even like a mobile game. That's like a Discord game with someone.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Interestingly, though, when police look into the mom's phone, there's no evidence of any sort of game or app being used that night. So either the girls were unable to get on the app, or maybe this story doesn't make any sense. When their dad took away their phones, they wrote in their diary, "Sorry, Papa, Korea was our life. How did you even dare to take this from us? We love Korean. Love, love, love." And it seems like Mr. Kumar firmly believes that Korea is the reason that his three daughters are gone, judging off of the way he's doing interviews and what's been found in their diaries. He tells the press, who naturally have a lot of questions, they even created a whole YouTube channel dedicated to K-dramas. They had about 2,000 subscribers, but 10 days before their deaths, they deleted it.
नहीं गेम भी खेलते थे वीडियो भी डालते थे यूट्यूब चैनल ही बनाया हुआ था कोरियर का उन्होंने
I don't think it was voluntary. So in other reports, Kumar the father says that he forced them to delete their channels based off of their growing fixation on Korean culture. They just keep living in their own world. He says that he believes probably him forcing them to delete their YouTube channel, taking away their phone.
That always works out well. Unless it's something that's really detrimental, harmful to your, forcing them to delete something they really care and passionate about. For example, Asia growing. I can understand you don't want to post things else online stuff, but just trying to force a child to cope with something about if it's not detrimental to their health, that never works out. He loves Pokemon. They're like, you know what? I don't like Pokemon. You shouldn't like it. I'm gonna force you to quit liking it. I think there's better out to do. You can teach them how to manage their like hobby. They can't spend all day. I'm like, you like this? I don't like you liking this, so no more. Never works out well. That all just pushes the kid to like it more or do
really sent them off the deep end. They broke. He says, I used to pamper my children a lot. They would watch K-dramas, Korean games, Korean reels. Their eyes were swollen, which is why I took away their phones. They were angry about this. Is taking away your child's phone a sin?
पूरा समय देते थे लेकिन वो छुप के कर रहे थे क्योंकि वो डरते थे मैं फोन छीन लेता था आंखें सूज जाती थी उनकी फोन चलाते चलाते उनकी आंखें सूज जाती और वो मेरे डर के मारे रात 12 बजे से 4 बजे तक फोन चलाते थे.
He says the night of their deaths, around 10 p.m., so only 4 hours before they passed, he spoke with the girls, and he says before he went to sleep in his room, he asked the girls, did you guys eat dinner? They respond, yes, we want to go to Korea. Mr. Kumar says they insisted on going to Korea again, but I told them we are Indians and we should behave like one instead of adopting a foreign culture. And he says that they could not live without their connection to Korea, which they only got through their phones. And maybe it's the way that the family and Mr. Kumar specifically have spoken about this incident. The mothers, I mean, they've been largely out of the public eye, but it's the way that he just keeps saying it's Korea, it's a Korean obsession. Maybe he is trying to say that the girls fell into a deep depression because they were unable to have a Korean connection or be Korean. Maybe he's trying to say it's depression, but it just comes off really confusing. One comment puts it heartlessly. What? So the girls wanted to become Korean, and the father said they have to be Indian. This is so confusing and like funny. I don't know why they said that, but that's what the comments reads. When Koreans read this too, I'm sure they'll also be confused because as Indians, we're so confused. It seems to me that the girls thought Korea was some kind of paradise in which characters and happenings of their games were literally true. Such fantasies are becoming common amongst growing kids.
I will say this. I totally understand. Well, honestly, it's not. But I do think that someone becomes very popular, you don't, and especially when someone's young, they may develop this idealization or ideals of a certain place. For example, like when anime, back in the day, anime was not as popular today. So I seen this myself. Even I might experience it myself. We're seeing certain things like, oh wow, I really like this show. It's from that place. Or I really like this video games. It's from that place. But I think, like for example, Japan. Let's be honest. Like I would love to go to Japan one day. It's still on my list. I'm older and mature to know that Japan is not like the animes, video games, what you see on TV. But I understand because K-pop is popular now, especially with K-pop, the whole BT. I forget the Blackpink and all. Like I understand because it was even at McDonald's everywhere. It's popular now. I get it. It's fine. There's always crazes and phases. But I think a lot of young people, or just people in general, not just young people, just people in general, they may start to, especially when they're trying to escape something, start to idealize. So they start thinking like, oh, if I just go here, I'll be better and happy. No, no, there's gonna be the same problems they might have here, they're gonna have over there. But they only see the good side. It's like Instagram. You only see the good stuff, the highlights, not really see behind the scenes. So I can totally understand how these girls could probably be like so obsessed with K-pop culture. It's sad that they may have.
The whole thing is just weird. Maybe everyone, myself included, we are all naive and we don't want to believe it's possible for three sisters to just do this because they love Korea, or it's just weird. So for example, when going through all the different reports, some reports say that the eldest daughter, the 16-year-old, got her phone 3 months ago. Some say 6 months ago, but it was sold 3 months ago. So she only had it for 3 months. Then the 14-year-old girl, the middle sister, got a phone 15 days ago, but it was taken away maybe 48 hours before their deaths. But regardless, if they got their phone 6 months ago and it was taken away 3 months ago, or 3 months ago and then it was recently taken away, it doesn't really matter. All I'm saying is the three sisters probably had 1 or 2 phones that they were sharing for what, max 3 months? It's kind of bizarre to think that they would create such a strong universe inside of their phones, inside of their heads, in that time span, that they would come to such a fatal decision at the end because of addiction. Furthermore, one comment online puts it really well. Sure, yeah, the kids might be addicted to their phones, but that's not why they did what they did. There's definitely a bigger reason why. They had to rely on apps for emotional support. Why did nobody bother checking up on them? But what's even stranger is that in that interview, their father says that they had been addicted to this Korean task-based video game for the past 2.5, 3 years. Which is weird considering they haven't had a phone for that long.
What game?
He doesn't know what game. Some reports say the police came out and flat out said there is no game. So we don't even know what game he's talking about.
Yeah,
but there's just, he keeps referencing a game.
Doesn't even sound like he knows what he's talking about.
No, and then when people ask like what kind of tasks, right?
He can easily just be like, hey, here's the game.
Yeah.
Like that will explain so many questions that everybody has.
Okay, so he was asked multiple times and I was watching a few interviews and it was very frustrating. The reporters keep asking him, well, can you give us an example of the different types of tasks that they would do? So I don't think the reporters are even skeptical of him. I think it's more so there is a huge fear probably in every nation, including India, definitely in places like Australia, where I think you can't even have social media if you're under the age of 15 now. But in India, they want to have similar laws put in place.
I see.
And so a lot of the reporters are like, tell us what kind of tasks so that other parents can notice if their kids are doing these tasks. But the dad would just say things like, can you really believe, as a man, as a father, I would let my kids die? That's his like go-to response. multiple times. He's asked about specific tasks or specific questions, and he always says, "Would a father think about it? If I knew they were playing this game, would a father let their kids die?"
Like, oh, I do this. Like, I said, oh, really? Because I doubt them. I only start to doubt them when they start dancing around the question. When I'm generally showing interest in something. I knew this one guy. I don't know why. Impulsive lie. Just lied about everything for no reason. It's like, are you lying to impress me? Or are you lying because you just want to make everything you do seem grandiose? Like, I can mention something, and you'll always have something more crazy or one up me. And I want to just want to see how far he would go with it. I never mentioned something like, oh, I recently bought this. I think it's a good device and product. And clockwork. He went on, was like, oh, you got that one? I got this one. It's way better. It's like, oh, really? Like, yeah. It's like, I just got this one because it's really hard to get these parts at this time. And he kept going on saying like, oh, he got a couple of those, and he's doing this and then that with them. Like, really? You managed to get a bunch of those GPUs? You managed to get a bunch of those GPUs at this time? Maybe you did. I don't know. But anytime I ask, like, oh, really? Can I see it, or can I see it, or see your setup or something? Couldn't provide it, but you always had everything. I was like, okay, you're just wasting my time. And I just, from that moment, I was like, you know what? Take everything that person says not too seriously. I think they're just saying that to impress me, or seem like they have something that I don't have. Fortunately, there's people like that. They just lie. Lying for no reason. I don't understand. It's like, bro, you don't have to lie. Not that big of a deal. Anyways. Lying just for lying's sake is I'm not police, I'm not authority. What are you making? Me? We're drawing Zelda. Let's work on the hands, do some detail. Yes, yes. If you want to see the rest of the artwork and stuff, feel free to follow me. I do post the finished artwork on my social medias. Yeah, Zelda, exactly. You got it. Was it the elf ears? Yeah, it's Zelda. I just clean this up. Yeah, it's funny the things people lie about. Crazy. Link when Zelda is missing. Yes, yes, yes. He's so distraught. But yeah, it's just a pose. I found a reference online. I really like the pose. Like, I'll draw it. It's like, hey, I like elves. I've been watching Friends Beyond Journey's End, and I plan to play Breath of the Wild soon. Like, yeah, let's make it Zelda. You're a friend now. Thank you so much. Appreciate the follow. Yeah, this is Zelda Missing Link. And honestly, I'm actually excited. I haven't played a Zelda game ever, so I'm gonna play Breath of the Wild, and I'm excited to see the live action. So hopefully, I can beat the game, and then watch the movie. Speaking about movies, I do plan to watch the Mario movie. First one was great. Well, no problem. Thank you, Inky117. That's a nice creative name. Nice. See you in the next stream. Just be careful of people who just compulsively lie.
Normally, no, but he's being so sus. So,
Yeah,
and
it's
why
a-
does he keep saying that? I feel like didn't we read it somewhere that's like a default response to something that you don't want to admit?
It's
Exactly.
very bizarre. And I think,
Exactly.
okay, normally I would be.
When people deflect like that, or repeat the same thing, for example, he's like, "Oh, how did that happen? You really think I'll let that happen? I wouldn't care?" And like try to guilt you or something so you don't ask them again. That's just a tactic to avoid answering the question. Because you can have legit concern and questions, and their default is to like try to make you feel bad or guilty for even asking them. Usually, there's something fishy going on.
Be very
you think I'll let that happen? You think I'll really let
hesitant
this
and
happen?
very.
No, I didn't say you're doing that. I'm just saying, how did this crazy thing happen? You not see anything crazy? You really think? How could you ask me that?
Cautious
Reflection.
of casting any sort of doubt
Same.
on any of the family members involved. But I think the household really needs to be looked at, because when you have 3 children have such a drastic action, there's something going on in their lives.
Yeah.
And if the parents failed to notice it, is it truly they were that good at not being alert and not being aware of what's happening with their
I'm not
kids?
blaming
At
parents,
the very
'cause let's be
least,
honest.
is it neglect, right? It just doesn't make
A lot of parents throw their kids an iPad, kind of like, here, watch YouTube. And I honestly think a lot of parents don't realize how much access the internet provides to their kids. Back then, to protect your kids, you kept them away from things. But right now, the threat is already in the home. If you have an internet connected device, that kid has access to everything. And anyone who has access to the internet has access to your kid. It's really hard. I don't try to blame parents, but I do think society and just in general people should become more aware of what is on the internet and monitor their kids' usage, especially if they're younger. Like, you shouldn't give a kid unrestricted access to the internet. Like, I grew up with tech and stuff, so I'm more tech aware and savvy about it. But unfiltered internet access is very dangerous. And you should probably know what your kids are doing. And they have tools and stuff. I just think it's a lack of parents being aware of it. Like, I see it in my own family. Like, I had cousins, and you got internet and stuff, and have the device, and their parents don't even know how to reset the internet. That's how much they lack tech. That's how much they lack in tech stuff. They don't even know how to reset the internet. Their kid knows how to do it. So they don't know how to reset the internet. They definitely don't know how to use parental controls and all. I think the internet should be monitored, especially for young kids. It should just be full out open there. And here's the thing too. A lot of people don't realize a lot of these devices, like I remember back then, like an iPod or iPod Touch, remember those? You didn't realize those things had internet access and a web browser. So you don't even realize that your kid has an internet device. I think, oh, I'm more my kid if he has a phone, but iPods had like basically an internet browser. That's the same thing as a cell phone. And I remember PlayStation, like PS3, was it PS3? PS2 had web browsers, all that stuff. The kids are accessing the internet through their PlayStations, their Wii's, Nintendos. I know Nintendo DS has a web browser. Yeah, just like that. The iPad definitely has internet. Crazy. Let's keep this video going.
make any sense.
What about the moms?
They have been very quiet. They're not even doing interviews. The grandma on the mom's side did an interview, which we're going to get into in a second, but she's like, I love my kids. I love my grandkids. I love my son-in-law.
How's dad's energy? Like, you said he's like
so nonchalant. I didn't see him cry. I don't see him choke up. It's just weird. The way he responds is very aggressive, but again, not in the way that I would be able to understand of, I am grieving, leave me alone. It's not that kind of aggressive. It's more like, I mean, what kind of dad would let their kids die? Why are you even asking me these questions?
Thanks for the follow. Appreciate that.
We need to ban Korea. Like, it's very like that.
It feels like he's like trying to point finger at someone or something.
Yes.
That's not him.
That's not him, but everything he point at just doesn't stick. There's no logical reasons to think that's the reason. And that's why I think we keep getting new things to try and stick onto. So phone addiction, video game, and now Korea and Korean video game. Right. He says that they were playing this Korean video game for 2.5, 3 years. We don't know what game, and they didn't have a phone for that long, so we don't know how they were playing. Maybe they were using their parents' phone to play,
But we don't know about that either, because remember the night that they passed, they took their mom's phone and they tried to use the game. Police took the mother's phone, ran forensics on it. There was no evidence of any game being accessed.
So did the dad made up that story then? What's going on?
I guess he could argue that they tried to get the game, but they couldn't get the game, or it was password. I don't know. But also, it just doesn't make sense. How are they playing for 3 years, but then they didn't have a phone for that long? But then when you check the mom's phone, she doesn't have the game. Yeah. So where were they playing this game for 2.5, 3 years? Nobody even knows what game they're talking about. And there is a list of video games on the girl's diary that they wrote about loving, because they had all these lists of all the shows that they love, movies that they love that their parents don't like. And it was a list of games that are on the horror side. Now, these are completely legal, normal games, just horror-themed games that anyone of a certain age can play. They certainly don't tell you to do things in real life. If anything, they'll just make you have kind of a scary dream at night. Poppy Playtime, The Baby in Yellow, Ice Cream Man, Evil Nun, Ice Cream Game. Like, these are all, you can get them on Steam Deck. They're not black market. I gotta download from a Discord server. Not black market, but like, you get it. Like, they're so niche and weird.
Just regular schmegler games?
Yeah, probably put out by some of the biggest gaming companies in the world. It's not these super niche, we don't know what's going on inside this game.
And the girl wrote it because the dad banned them from playing it, or doesn't?
Just disproved it.
Right, yeah. I see.
But they didn't write any sort of game that's
very interesting. Yeah, it sounds like the girl likes to play video games, and the girl likes K-pop or Korean TV shows, and the dad doesn't like any of those. So like Korean shows, no. Gaming, no. In his mind, he turned this into they want to be Koreans and they are addicted to these Korean games because their diary are very normal teenager behavior.
Yeah, it's weird.
It's like asking his dad to explain video games.
Yeah. It's just...
Yeah, I see where they're coming from there. Hello, welcome, Harold. Welcome. Yeah, what I'm getting so far is these kids were really influenced by Korean culture. I guess the dad probably felt like, hey, be proud of your own culture first or something. So maybe just because they're super obsession of it, started to dislike culture, probably, but who knows? Thanks for the follow. Appreciate that, guys.
Just fishy. Something is off. Something feels wrong about it, especially when you factor in all the other oddities of this case. Like how one page in the girl's diary reads, "Do we live in this world to get beaten by you? Death would be better for us than these beatings." Another excerpt in their diary reads, "The mention of marriage caused tension in our hearts." Who are they getting beaten by? Who and why would they be getting married? They're children. They're 12, 14, and 16 years old. And they're not the first ones to die from that balcony. Almost a decade ago, in 2015, another woman had fallen from the same exact balcony. She was partially clothed and she let out a big scream before falling to the ground. It is reported that this was the live-in girlfriend of the father, Mr. Kumar. So he's got 3 wives and a live-in girlfriend that also died in 2015. She had fallen, and originally reports stated that she was trying to hang clothes outside to dry but slipped and fell. Ultimately, most mainstream outlets seem to agree on the fact that the police closed the case, stating she self-exited. When the father was asked about his live-in girlfriend that died in the very similar fashion, he just responds, "I don't want to talk about this."
Not a coincidence.
That's crazy.
So what is the cause? Is it video games? Is it Korea? It can't all be a coincidence, right? Netizens don't think so. One comment reads, "All these explanations of their deaths look like a bunch..."
Because he said he always loves his girl, right? If this happened before with your supposedly live-in girlfriend, and you're always on TV when they actually find how your girls die in a similar manner, wouldn't that be like your major concern to instill in your kids or your loved ones not to go up on that balcony or roof? You wouldn't allow that? I'm not saying that you can watch them 24/7, but I think if something tragic happened to a loved one of mine or someone, and I have people living in there and that can happen to them, I think it'll be very evident that I would constantly remind them, warn like, hey, be careful, this can happen, or take measures and steps to prevent it from happening to the other people I care about. This happens to your daughters, is it suspicious?
bunch of buzzwords thrown together. We gotta look at the history of the family. One netizen comment reads, "The Blue Whale game itself was a case of mass hysteria. There's very little evidence of such a game existing. Most of the victims are just really sad teens, and most probably their parents were giving police extremely false leads. This seems to also be the case here. Even though it might not be the parents' fault, but many times parents are negligent towards the mental health of their kids, hence they might put blame on some game to escape from taking responsibility." Another comment reads, "Obsession with Korean culture is just a symptom. The real issue is loneliness and isolation." And I think netizens would be less skeptical if the girl's father took responsibility for maybe not being as present in the girls' lives, but he just keeps blaming it on everybody else. He says, quote, "I have no fault here. I took care of them. Maybe the only mistake was providing a phone, and through the phone they got connected to the Korean world."
एक लाइन में आप ये बता दीजिए आपके तीनों बच्चों की मौत की वजह क्या है? क्या गेम है या फिर आपका न देख पाना है या फिर परवरिश में आपकी कमी है?
मेरा कोई वो नहीं है, मेरा पूरा वो था, मैं बच्चों को पूरी केयर करता था। बस ये कि मैंने थोड़ा सा ये डिले करा कि उन्हें फोन प्रोवाइड कराया और फोन के जरिए वो कोरियन से जुड़े।
But when you dig deeper, there's way more to it than just K-dramas. The girls dropped out of school in 2020. They weren't going to school ever since. They haven't been homeschooled. They were not going to socialize with other kids. They had zero education for the past 5 years. Their grandmother on their mom's side states everyone loved them. They were good girls. They had good values. They used to study and write and everything, which could be true. They could be self-learning, but I'm not sure how productive that is. Just a few months before their passing, like I said, their father had hired a tutor to privately tutor the 3 girls.
All 3 of them stopped going to school in 2020.
Yeah.
That's crazy. The youngest one's only 12. That means she hasn't been since she was 7, like first grade.
Yeah.
What's the reason? Did the father explain?
No. He says that he did try to get a tutor for them 3 months before their passing. And that tutor has now come out to say, I mean, I didn't spend a lot of time with them, but they were very weak in their studies. At their age, they couldn't even do basic calculations. Even the 16-year-olds, they could barely recognize numbers. Quote, "They couldn't even copy numbers or letters from textbooks." So like I said, they refused to do their homework. The tutor is like, "Why didn't you do their homework?" They said, "We were adopted from Korea and China." The tutor is like, "I don't know what's going on, but I don't think you need a tutor. Like maybe you need something else." So she actually, for the first time in her career, returned the money back to the dad and was like, "I don't know what to do. I don't think I can be their tutor."
Whoa, I feel like there's something so dark going on.
The father tries to argue it's because the girls don't do anything that has nothing to do with Korean culture, and they only want to talk about Korea and be in Korea and be Korean. But some people say, no, it's more than that. Look at the dad's financial history. The Kumar family lives in a gated community, which I would say naturally creates an environment where everyone gets to know their neighbors a lot better, unless you are the Kumars. One neighbor says, "I rarely ever saw the kids, and I almost never saw them interacting with other kids in the neighborhood. I never even saw them going to school or to the park. They were just isolated." I don't know if they would go as far to say that they were hidden, but it does seem like there was some intentional effort being made, maybe by the kids, the family, or both, for them not being.
Growing up, I remember, it wasn't on my block, there was a different block I lived on. But growing up, there was these kids, and that the whole entirety of my history, I never seen them outside. I never thought about it until one of the other kids brought it up to my attention because he lived close to them. And he brought it to my attention. I was like, oh my God. He's like, I don't think those kids are allowed to come outside ever. The only time we ever seen them is at school. And he brought it to my attention, and I was like, oh my God, you're right. I never see them outside. We always see them like in the windows, and they'll be looking at us, and we wave at them, whatever. But we never saw them outside or in the back, or even heard them in their backyard. And then I realized years later on that the parents just deemed our neighborhood as a bad neighborhood, and they didn't want their kids interacting with none of the other kids in the neighborhood. Yeah. That's crazy. They're not allowed to be outside or hang out with any of the kids in the neighborhood. One time you saw them was at school. I think their parents even drove them to school. They weren't on the school bus or anything. I was like, that's a bit weird. I wonder how those kids turned out. I can't imagine. Now I think about it, all the time they were looking at us through the window. Because, you know, they probably wanted to play with us. But yeah, I just remember that. That's crazy. Yeah. Just how some. I don't think you should like kids. I gotta say you want to protect your kids, but just roll off the whole neighborhood that's bad. I don't want my kids interacting with none of these kids. I think that can cause more harm. Also, you gotta protect your kids from running with a bad crew. But I was like, just a regular kid. I just came here to play with my friend, play basketball at Foursquare. I ain't like in the neighborhood doing crazy stuff. I don't think it's that bad to let your kids play with other kids.
Outside.
Also, I believe they were foreign. They're from a different country. I'm not gonna say the country. So maybe in their mind, like, oh, until we can get to a better neighborhood, I want my kids to interact with none of these kids. I think that's probably an issue.
Another neighbor says, I don't know, they spent most of their time just confined in a single room. Behavior. We never saw them outside.
The whole family kept country. It'd be kind of hard to be xenophobic.
Themselves. Here's why people don't think it's the girls choosing to self-isolate though. People in the neighborhood point to the fact that Mr. Kumar used to be a very successful businessman, but he recently got into debt stock trading. And ever since then, he did not like interacting with people. And he would do this thing where he would never hold his head high. He would wear a face mask everywhere he went. It doesn't matter if it's no longer COVID, if he's not sick, if it's hot and humid outside, it doesn't matter. He's always wearing a face mask. And it seemed like there was some sort of embarrassment laced in there. The history of the father, Mr. Kumar, is not squeaky clean. He's illegally married to multiple women, 3 women. This is not legal. More on that later, but he works as a stock trader. Unfortunately, he is one of those stock traders that would probably be the best at stock trading if he never traded. He would probably make more money never touching the market than touching the market. He's deep in debt. Some reports say that he's $115,000 US in debt, which would be an astronomical amount. If you factor in that area, the average annual salary is $5,000 to $8,000 US a year. He later claims he's not $115,000 in debt. He says it's only about $10,000 to $20,000 US, which is still a lot. He's deep in debt. He has to support 3 wives that he lives with. He has 5 kids with them. So you have the 3 sisters that passed. Then you have 2 other children that he has to take care of. And having multiple wives, let alone wives that are biological sisters, all living together, raising kids together, is not normal. We spoke with our Indian researcher and he says, yeah, it's not normal. It's also not legal. Sister wives. I mean, they literally are sister wives. So the grandmother, this is the sister wife's mother. She describes it. Well, when he was married to one sister, the other sister fell in love with him out of her own free will. And the original sister that married him was unable to conceive for a while. So Kumar and the second sister get married with the intention of having children. But then the original sister ends up pregnant, and then the other sister ends up pregnant, and they're all just getting pregnant. And the mother of the sister wives say.
But usually when you see that happening, where they're literally marrying sisters together, from my understanding, if you seem to have money or something, or able to provide, they will willingly, gladly do it. Kind of more like the family will allow it if you have money. I guess the more money you have, the more you can do. But I don't know. I can't speak on something. He's like, you have money, probably can marry more.
I said it doesn't matter.
Because something like a dowry or something. I don't know. I'm not an expert. Don't come for me.
2 sisters will live together, and if they have a child, then there will be a means for that too. So she kind of believes that it's okay, considering the original sister was an arranged marriage with Kumar. She believes, there wasn't a lot of love there. It was more arranged marriage. Yes. And then the second sister, they fell in love with Mr. Kumar. But I still think that's really alarming. And it seems like everyone in the area must have known what was happening in that house, but Perhaps everybody just approached the subject with not my business, not my problem.
Yeah.
Or maybe they thought as long as everybody's happy, who are we to judge? But the wives were not happy. May of 2025, 2 of his wives walked out and went to the police station. And then he went to the police station to report them missing. Eventually, they returned to the house and nothing came of it. But this is not a family dynamic that people are jealous of. There's clearly turmoil there. We're not sure which of the wives walked out. We're not sure about anything, but this is not a healthy family dynamic. One person comments, according to the Hindu Marriage Act, you can't marry another woman if your first wife is alive and you haven't divorced her. How did this man marry multiple times and all of them are living together? But there is an interview with the grandmother, so the sister wife's mom, and she says, my daughters were good and my son-in-law was good too.
मेरी बच्ची अच्छी थी और दामाद भी अच्छा था मेरा, बेटियां भी सही थी, लेकिन पता नहीं उसके बाद क्या हुआ क्या नहीं मुझे नहीं मालूम.
What was he? Netizens have been skeptical of his largely unemotional appearance in all the interviews that he does. He keeps rambling about Korean video games, Korean shows, and not providing any sort of details about what happened to his daughters. What show? What game? What anything? When asked about it, he just keeps diverting the conversation. Then a neighbor comes out to report something really odd. They say the night of the girl's death, everyone who was awake in the apartment building heard a commotion. Others woke each other up, but it seems like there is evidence that the father looked over the balcony first, and he saw that his daughters were deceased. Going off of his interviews, he freaks out, he wakes up his wife, they head downstairs. But as they're heading downstairs, one of the neighbors is with them in the little elevator lift. And all 9 floors down, it's the 3 of them, the father, one wife, we don't know which one, and a neighbor. The neighbor says it was weird. So by this point, it seems like both of them know what happened. But the father, he's so calm, he's stoic the whole way down. And meanwhile, his wife is having a more normal response. However, she's very oddly angry at him, hitting him, screaming him the whole way down to the ground floor.
That's really telling.
Even when they get down to the ground floor, the wife is busy trying to cover the girls with clothing, a scarf, and neighbors report the whole time she would be putting a scarf over the girls and then going to hit her husband and then trying to cover the girls' faces and then going to abuse her husband is how they say it. I mean, why is she so mad at him?
Whoa.
But the craziest thing is, I do think it is dangerous to cast doubt or suspicion on a grieving family member, especially when, in the note, the girls don't address their mom at all. So the police believe that they had a stronger connection to their dad. So they'll write things like, sorry, Papa, on their note, but it doesn't make any sense.
Do we know these notes are from the girls?
It seems like it was written by them. All of it is not adding up. It's very odd. And a lot of the people in India are just wondering, why are we not getting the full note then?
Yeah, exactly.
Because all of this is weird and it's creating a lot of hysteria. So I was browsing on a lot of Indian subreddits, and Indian netizens are saying a lot of the older generations, they're latching onto the mainstream titles of, oh my gosh, phones are killing the youth. Which, I mean, to some degree, maybe there is truth there, but not to this level. Oh, it's a Korean video game. A lot of people were protesting Korean media. They were trying to protest, anything Korean. A lot of older...
I don't know if you guys know. Whenever there was a time when Pokemon was like the biggest thing. And there was a lot of that same rhetoric that Pokemon devil worship was bad and all this stuff. And I remember a lot of people saying, oh, I can't like Pokemon, it's bad. Like, in my mind, I'm like, what's bad about Pokemon? How is it devil worship or how is it bad? You're like, oh, it's bad. I'm like, where are you getting this information from? And like, all I know when I watch Pokemon or collect the cards is a bunch of cool little characters and monsters. You battle with them. Where's the devil worship stuff coming from? The thing is, what you have to realize back then, a lot of people would just see a headline on the news or a newspaper, and without doing their own research, just say, oh, the news said this is bad, so it must be true, and they'll repeat the same thing, and it's caused an echo chamber. To the point where people are like, oh, it's so bad. Yes, what's bad about it? They don't even know. But that happens with anything popular. And there's another time with Harry Potter. Like, I don't care about Harry Potter because I don't watch Harry Potter. I never got into it, so it wasn't for me. I just never, like, oh, don't let your kids watch Harry Potter. Why? It's witchcraft and devil worship stuff. And it'll make a kid jump out the building and scar his head. I was like, what? This turns out, they take one incident where there was a kid who was very impressionable by Harry Potter, and he thought he could fly or something, and then they're just pointing at everybody. Those are special cases. There's more than that. And it was with wrestling, video games. Don't let your kids play video games. They're bad. Like, there's more to it. I'm not saying your kids should play any video. Because some games do have a rating for a certain reason, but it's that whole mentality. Something new, it must be bad. I don't know why it's bad, but I saw it in the news. I'm gonna tell everyone's bad. Like, yes, certain things can be bad, but if you're like, take certain precautions, know what you're doing, you're okay. But yeah, it's crazy. I think it's a fear of the unknown, or something unfamiliar becoming popular.
More traditional Indian parents were saying we have to watch out for Western culture, American culture infiltrating our youth, and now we have to watch out for Korean culture. Like, it's just another thing that we have to shield our kids from. And I get it. I think different cultures have different aesthetics and things
values
that we might not all approve of, but it's just been creating mass hysteria amongst the older generations. And then all of the younger generations are like, hey guys, so I don't think it's that. Something weird is happening here, but no one wants to listen to them.
So all mainstream media talking about our Korea video game.
Yeah, I guess it's a more catchy title even in the US of like, can you believe these girls wanted to be Korean? Haha, K-pop.
Even right now,
it's been like that
Valve
vibe.
going through something right now? And they're talking about gambling, which I do think is a problem in certain games and loot boxes and stuff. It definitely is gambling. Let's be honest, even Pokemon cards, we're gambling. But they're talking about gambling, and even in that article, they're mentioning that video game violence is a big issue. And I said, okay, I can understand certain people being influenced by that, but just because you play violent doesn't mean you can become a violent offender. You have to apply that same logic to movies, books, and everything. What do I know? Just easier to dogpile on something when it's being made focused.
The energy.
And it's rap music. I think it's a certain degree.
Crazy.
I think it influences you, but I don't think
I really
that's the main.
really don't think that's at all what is happening here. But a lot of netizens have come to some sort of conspiracy with the father. They think either there must be some sort of abuse or at the very least severe neglect in that house to cause the girls to be at such a state in their lives. Others are pointing to the fact that you have seen a lot of children be victims of alleged CSA who are isolated from their peers, who don't go to school, who might still have fond feelings towards their abusers. And these are all just allegations and conspiracies online, which again, I would never even put in this episode had the interviews of the father not been so bizarre. And just nothing makes sense. Like, if we had a theory that made sense of why the girls did what they did, I don't even think I would even entertain such a conspiracy theory because I don't think it's appropriate, but nothing makes sense. And then people thought, well, maybe the father is ashamed because of his financial state. Maybe he mentioned marrying them off to make money for his debt. Because why else would girls write things like, oh, even the mention of marriage caused tension in our hearts?
Yep, I can see that, yeah.
And maybe they don't hate their dad, they just don't like the idea of getting married, so that's why they wrote, sorry, Papa, like, you can't pay off your debt because we're just gonna... But would that not be included in the letter? I don't know. There are netizen speculations that perhaps the dad threatened to marry them off and took their phone, disconnecting them from the world. Or some people think maybe not, because there's a part in their diary that reads, you try to make us give up Korea. Korea was our life. You expected our marriage to an Indian, and that can never happen. So some people are saying, well, maybe the girls had brought up, one day I'm gonna grow up and marry someone Korean. And the dad did whatever dads do, which is like, no, you're not. You're gonna marry an Indian man. And he didn't even think about it. And the girls took this to heart and they started internalizing all of this information, and that made them super depressed. But I feel like that's a very weird theory. So as of right now, police have stated that they will be furthering the investigation to try and find what, if any, apps were being used by the girls on their phones. The problem is the father sold their phones, both of their phones, to make up for his debt. So they have to track down the phones and then try to run forensics on them, see if they were talking to anybody, encouraging them to do what they did. But their deaths so far have been ruled a self-exit. The sister's grandma on the mom's side states, I'm in a lot of grief. I feel like, how did this happen to us? This should not have happened. Our granddaughters were very good, very nice, educated too. Our girls were good. They loved me a lot. They loved grandfather and aunt. They loved everyone. She says whenever she would visit, the three sisters would surround her on the bed and hold her close until all of them fell asleep.
मुझे बहुत प्यार करती थी। जब मैं जाती थी इनके घर पे, तो तीनों बेटियां मुझे घेर लेती थी चारों तरफ से और मुझे सुलाती थी अपने साथ पकड़ के नानी आप हमारे साथ सोओगे.
And while a lot of netizens feel sympathy for the Kumar family, some want the parents, especially the dad, to be investigated. They don't think that he might have outright killed his daughters, but they think that there's way more to the story. One comment reads, "I hope the father was arrested for sheer neglect." Another comment reads, "This whole case is shady. I don't believe for a single second they killed themselves over K-pop. That seems like some made-up BS the father made up. He was married to 3 women and pulled his daughters out of school and kept them at home. Nothing about their lives was normal." Another commentator writes, "The dad is weird. He lied to the media about the K-pop angle. He created a distraction to evade the situation. Anyone who thought it could really be because of a game was misled by the media." And that is where we are right now with the case of the Kumar sisters. What are your thoughts on this case?
So shady.
Yeah, everything about it just doesn't make sense. And everyone who keeps coming out, the dad mainly, who keeps giving his version of why the girls did it, it just reminds me so much of the novel.
Unfortunately, I'm going to have to end the stream here. So if you like what you see, feel free to like and follow. And I'll be posting the finished artwork on my channel. So hit that like and subscribe button. And I'm going to end the stream here. So yeah, I'm Javine Hall Art. I like to draw and play video games. I'm working on Zelda fan art. You can follow me on Instagram, Tumblr, TikTok, Twitch, YouTube, and Patreon for more exclusive stuff. I'll see you guys on the next one. Have a good one. Bye.